Earth as a singular planet. In fact, it is anything but. For this is a story not of a universe, but a multiverse, where universes and planets, such as Earth, were replicated and mirrored across a vibrating, infinite plane. Some barely different from the next. Others drastically so.
This is DC On Screen. Every week, Dave and Jason talk about the multiverse of DC properties on film and television. But be warned, if it's been officially released, you can expect they'll spoil it.
Welcome into DC On Screen episode 468. I'm your host, David C. Robertson. This is my co-host, Jason Goss.
Hello.
And before we jump into the news here, because this is a news episode, I want to remind you that a positive review and rating on iTunes goes a long way in helping us grow as a show. Second, there is a show out there called DC Cinematic Minute. And a few months ago, or a month ago, or something, I did a week's worth of shows with those guys, Mark and Nathan. A goodly sort. Mm-hmm. The show runs 5 days a week, and each one is relatively short, 15 to 30 minutes usually, and they analyze 1 minute of a film every episode. Right now, they're still on BVS, so we got into some nitty-gritty over on BVS. It was a lot of fun, and you should definitely go check that out. Thirdly, I want to wish a happy second anniversary to our friends Deej and Lane over at the Nerdocalypse podcast, a show dedicated to the many fandoms of modern-day geekery.
Happy anniversary!
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Happy anniversary, guys. You got Jason all excited.
That you made me do my bad radio voice. That wasn't even bad radio. Bad announcer voice? I don't know. It's a bad voice. That part I'm sure about.
Yeah. Anyway, Deej and Lane are good blokes. Mm-hmm. Go check them out. Nerdocalypsepodcast.com. Go give them a sniff. And lastly, I'll tell you this. We have a special voicemail after the credits today, and it's someone we haven't heard from in a long time. Someone I believe I know the identity of. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so listen after the credits for that treat, folks.
And I'll add that I don't think we can answer the question that is posited. In response.
Yeah. I don't know that I was planning on answering it. I think I was just planning on playing the thing and leaving it alone.
I just was going to say, I don't think we have anything. I don't think there's a... I have no A to that Q.
Yeah. All right. So I've kind of been waiting to see if this was going to pop up anywhere. So we're gonna get into some kind of bummer kind of news here. First off, over on Justice League, I'm sure you guys have seen the headlines about whether or not Zack Snyder was fired from Justice League. And it's mostly is coming from a guy named Josh Dickey, who's an entertainment journalist, he was until recently. He's leaving the industry and
setting it on fire.
Pretty much, I guess. This comes from a tweet from Josh Dickey. He says, "Since I'm shifting into DGAF mode, here's a hot one for you. Zack Snyder was fired from the DCEU just over 1 year ago. Couldn't write it quite that way at the time, but was able to tap dance around it." And he links to a Mashable article he wrote, and I'll put up a link to that. And I will say, I believe this. I first heard hints of this privately from a few people a few months ago. And the guys at the Suicide Squad cast have talked about it on Twitter, about hearing from certain sources. And, I don't feel ethically at liberty to divulge the sources. And I don't know anything of the details, really. Only that there's really no way to keep this kind of thing quiet forever. And it's not our story to tell necessarily, but we will talk about it as it unfolds publicly and as it becomes like public knowledge. I don't want to get into the little bit that I know. And as much as I'm willing to talk crap about writers and directors and producers for creative decisions, I do want to respect their privacy on this. And but I don't really believe. I think Zack Snyder was absolutely fired over a year ago, and I know that insinuates certain things, and I'm trying to not jump to unsavory conclusions about what that implies in relation to his daughter and her suicide. I don't think Zack Snyder was using that. I don't think he was using it to cover himself in any way. But I honestly don't have any idea what happened in that way. So I don't know what Warner Brothers was doing. It doesn't look good. But this absolutely feels like the initial pop of the old can opener, penetrating big old can of worms. And that's really all I'm willing to say at this point. I don't know. Like, this all feels icky, man.
Yeah, I have even less. I don't think if there's anything in there, it's a can of worm. Just singular worm. That's it. It's like it's an issue that I just cannot fathom why anyone cares about.
Uh-huh.
Because the headline to me is like, Snyder was fired before he was fired. And
yeah.
On top of that, like, even with sources, it's still just sources uncorroborated. To me, it's not news on two fronts. One, in the sense that even if it's true, who cares?
Uh-huh.
Like, if you already thought Snyder was wronged, this, I guess, braces you. If you thought Snyder, I don't know where the other side of this issue is. Like,
yeah.
No matter how you felt about Justice League, we all thought, well, Snyder probably could have gotten a better deal. And I guess just various parts of, like, there's spectrums of feelings about that, but I think everyone basically was like, yeah, I don't know, Snyder probably got screwed in some capacity. So
sure.
Going into the depth of that capacity is very much a why.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just very much old news. I mean, it's
well,
old, not helpful news is my major thing.
Well, it's old news, and it might not necessarily be helpful, but I'm interested. If they came out with a documentary today about everything that's happened in the DCEU behind the scenes, I would definitely watch it. I would stop recording right now to watch it.
It might be interesting. It's like, if that was going to be the case, that there was an expose, like a real tell-all, that might be one thing. But like, if all we're going to do is crawl into this piece of backstory over and over again, one piece at a time, at the detriment of Snyder's family, because I don't care how you feel about some piece of entertainment that was 2 hours long, that's his family we're talking about. Back off. Yeah. Doesn't mean that much. This is a piece of entertainment. Have some perspective. Like,
absolutely.
Whatever happened around that time, it can't be worth it. And all we're really going to learn at the end of the day is that WB's an idiot? Why did we not know that?
I knew that.
There's no one's going to come out at the end of this story and be like, oh, well, I had Warner Brothers back until now. That's not happening. It's a useless, pointless story. I mean, regardless of whether there's truth to it, I think it's an ineffectual story that's just like, not even implicitly, like very kind of specifically hurtful in certain ways. It's the kind of thing that's just like, let's just walk away.
Yeah. It's hard for me. I don't know. I kind of feel like I don't want to talk about it, and then I kind of feel like, everybody else is talking about this. Like, everybody is talking about this. People are wondering about this and, wanting to know what we think about it. And I don't know, man. It's just one of those things where I feel like we're going to have to wait until, like, Snyder's like, yes, they did this, or no, they didn't do this, or, whatever. And you have to wait for certain non-disclosure agreements to run out before everything gets real candid.
Yeah. I mean, there might be a time where everything's up front, and I don't know, maybe we know the whole story at some point, but
yeah,
it'd be different even if we all knew the whole story all at once. But to peel it away in pieces like this just seems harmful in a way that I can't get behind.
Yeah, it's
it would be entirely different if there was something that might change, like something useful to the world that might change if we peeled away the pieces of the story, but I just can't see it.
It might, it might change the way Warner Brothers does stuff. I doubt it.
I doubt it very highly. There's no dollar figure on the story that's going to make them consider things differently.
No, maybe. There's a lot to be said for negative press affecting how you actually do business.
I get it, but the negative press that should have developed around, like, the bonuses and Tsujihara and Emmerich, is it Emmerich, right?
Yeah.
Wanting their bonuses and all, that should have been, to me, that should have been more effectual.
Yeah.
If something was going to affect it, like, hey, we tanked your movie that you all care about, that you've all spent years invested in, that we all built up, we tanked your movie because we wanted a bonus. That should have been way, way more provocative, then
it may not have been about the bonuses. It may have been because they just wanted to get it out of the way.
That's like
and knew it was
even
bad.
then that's another take on it. It's just if someone's just if someone's just barely caring and then they punt on it at the end, come on, man, take them off it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's just overall at the end of the day, and we'll move on to other things. At the end of the day, I think even as people who enjoy Justice League, I think we can all agree, everyone involved, the Snyder super fans who are angry about Justice League, and the people who enjoy Justice League, I think we can all come together, hold hands, and say, WB screwed up. And
no, I don't think there's any reasonable person that said no. WB nailed everything. No, there's no one saying that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no one saying that doesn't work for their PR department. And even they have admitted mistakes on occasion.
Right.
There's no version of this where that's the argument.
Or we can all just hold hands and point at that one guy, that one fan who decided to message Zack Snyder on Vero and say, hey, did you see all the deleted scenes? Have you watched any of those yet?
That was glorious.
Snyder's like, yeah, I shot them. No, he was way nicer. He was way nicer about it. That's how I would have said it.
Yes, that's the tone I would have taken. I did see them live when I filmed them several times because you don't just film it once.
Right.
I've seen takes you've never imagined.
Or the same take you can imagine over and over again.
With the camera slightly to the right. Yeah.
With different emphasis on different caval words.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I think I will leave that story with be civil. Be civil. Just whatever you think happened, be civil about it. Don't attack anybody, please. Leave Snyder and his family alone. Anyway. So Justice League is available for digital download.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. The credit scenes are actually online as well.
I did go back and rewatch the Barry and Superman race a couple times, if I'm being honest.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same too you saw in the theater if you actually went to see it.
Yeah, it's not like extra after credit scenes that you hadn't seen, but I did want to see that again. So when I saw that news, I was like, ooh, and I went and found that specifically.
Yeah, I haven't had time to do that. I've wanted to, but I haven't had time. Haven't had time.
Who would have thought?
All right, so there's a in case you're new to the show, I'm getting married in like 7 days, man. It's like next week. It's like at this time next week. I'm going to be taking family pictures. Mm-hmm.
Oh, so we're just above 7 days.
Yeah. So Aquaman.
Yay! Except,
there's a trailer rumor, and it's just that. According to James Wan, all the rumors that began with this cat, Carlos Villalobos Jr., posting about his scoring the first look at Aquaman are premature. Wan explained that the composer's involvement didn't involve the trailer in any capacity and asked fans to be patient. He said he wanted to, quote, make sure it rocks.
You gotta like his attitude.
Yeah, sure. James Wan is awesome. Now there was a bit of news here from the Aquaman Shrine that I've seen a lot of people quoting, so I thought I'd talk about it real quick and throw my 2 cents in. Aquaman Shrine is saying orange and green for Halloween. WB licensing event attendee says the Aquaman movie costume shown is exactly like the modern comics version. That's it. That's all we have. And I'm just going to say, if it's a licensing event attendee, this means nothing.
This didn't even come with. I couldn't even find pictures.
Yeah, and they could have seen some random action figure. They could have seen something that showcased that classic uniform and decided it was news. But look at some of the previous licensing on these WB movies. We had BVS. And I think Justice League figures of Aquaman in the classic orange and green. Mm-hmm. We also had Superman in black and silver for Justice League, and that's why you're pissed off that it's not in the movie. Mm-hmm. On BVS, we had the Lexo suit, Lex Luthor, pimped. Mm-hmm. Where was any of that? So, I'd hold off on the fireworks. I wouldn't get too excited about this, guys. And if it happens, yay, but whatever.
As a rule, if you're at a venue and money is changing hands, come on, man. Can't trust everything.
Yeah.
I mean, there are versions of these kinds of gatherings where they can just throw anything at the wall and hope you get excited and leave thinking your money was worth it.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I hate to sound that disdainful of parts of the industry, but yeah, it can be that.
It's
stupid.
all right. You can be disdainful. I don't mind.
It's part of our relationship.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a real thing that's apparently happening in part of our news cycle now. Lobo, screenwriter, Lobo screenwriter Jason Fuchs, who wrote Wonder Woman, revealed in an interview with Latino Review Media that he's eyeing the Lobo comics that have Lobo depicted as a bounty hunter. And he says, this is an interesting quote, though. I think when you're working on comic book characters, especially ones that are near and dear to my heart, like Wonder Woman and Lobo are, you want to create something that's true to what the original text are. So he's talking about the original text.
He is. And he took what I feel like is a very scripted thing that we hear a lot, and interjected a portion of a sentence that has never been said in the history of humanity.
Oh, yeah? What's that?
Characters that are near and dear to my heart, like Wonder Woman and Lobo are.
Yeah. But he goes on.
Wherever the bell rings when a new sentence is formed, the bell rings.
Okay.
It's probably on like Noam Chomsky's desk somewhere.
He says, I think Wonder Woman really captures the feeling of not only the original Moulton Marston comics, but the George Perez run in the late 80s. It feels like reading those comics up on the big screen. So for something like Lobo, without saying too much about it, it'll feel, I imagine, quite different, because the Lobo comic itself is quite different. What Keith Giffen and Alan Grant put together was something really unique, and hopefully we'll capture some of that same spirit when we make the movie. Now, I think it's interesting because he brings up the original text, and Giffen and Grant were the first team to work on Lobo. Giffen was a co-creator, but Lobo had a different original backstory. Like, he was originally, like, I think Valorpian, and his entire race was, like, wiped out by another species entirely. But then when Giffen and Grant worked on it in the 90s, he was Zarnian, and he had killed every member of his race.
They came up with the Unto Eden a Snake Was Born version.
Right. So I think it's interesting that he's bringing up the original Moulton Marston version and then the George Perez Wonder Woman, because it feels like he's insinuating that he's going to be taking bits from the original Lobo run and bits from the Keith Giffen and Alan Grant run and putting those together in some way. And that's fine. But what is really exciting to me is that he specifically mentioned the Keith Giffen and Alan Grant run being being of the same spirit of the movie. And if you're wondering what I think he means by that same spirit, I did pull the synopsis for Volume 1 of Lobo by Keith Giffen and Alan Grant, courtesy of DCComics.com. And if you want to buy that, it's $24.99. We're not making money off of that. I'm just telling you. But here's the synopsis they gave. It's the big bad Lobo book that has something to offend everyone. In these fast-shooting, gut-wrenching tales from the 1990s, Lobo's out for revenge on whoever wrote an unauthorized biography of his life as a gun for hire. Then, the Easter Bunny hires Lobo to kill his biggest rival, Santa Claus. And Lobo signs on to kill the galaxy's greatest criminal, but promptly gets killed. And 200 of the main man's illegitimate offspring team up to knock off dear old dad.
Well, that sounds delightful.
Yeah, that's what we're dealing with here.
I kind of like a version where they use both backstories, where, you know, maybe he just acts like the Zarnian, but the real story is the other one. Because the legend developed, like, maybe the real story is he was the last of his kind, and that was sad, but then the story that develops around him is, he killed everybody as a, he's a traitor and a creep, and then he just kind of runs with it because it works for him. And like, there's that underlying, like, it's always that kind of thing where, like, the badass has one little soft spot kind of thing, and the soft spot is, the truth is kind of weird, but whatever, I'm a badass.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm softening it as I'm saying it, but I could dig that.
Yeah. So if that's, I went from basically having no faith in this Lobo movie with the Michael Bay rumors to having like all the faith in the world with this quote somehow. I was just like, oh man.
Yeah.
If he's looking at Giffen and Grant, all right.
Not a bad place to start, you say.
No. Now, a lot of fans are excited about this next piece of news. I'm going to not be one of those fans. It's not news. It's a possibility. I just thought I'd ask you what you thought about it. I'm sure you saw it.
Mm-hmm.
But Colton Haynes of Arrow, played Arsenal, Roy Harper, says, #Nightwing, and he has 3 hugging face emojis, and then a minute later he tweeted again, this is going to be a great year, and then like 3 more hugging face emojis. Everyone's freaking out because they think he's going to be Nightwing, and they're excited about it. They're actually excited about it. I'm not excited about that, if that's true. Like, no.
I don't
want any part of that.
Nope.
He's barely passable as Roy.
I like him as Roy. That's actually one of the reasons I don't like him as Nightwing. He has cemented as that character.
Yeah, I mean, he has, and I enjoy, like, it's one of those things where, like, I enjoy when he comes back to Arrow just because I like seeing the gang all together,
Sure.
But, I don't think he's particularly good, even as Roy. Like, he's just kind of there. He always just kind of looks like he's about to poot. Like, he's maybe got a poot that he can't get out.
I won't. No, I won't travel down that road with you.
He just looks kind of stern,
He does look a little stern, but I think that's a requirement for getting on the set of Arrow.
Maybe.
I don't have anything against him as an actor. I really don't. I've been annoyed with some of the places they took Roy over the years.
Yeah. And that's one of the things with these shows. I'm never sure if it's the actor or the writing.
That's the other thing is like think about the bulk of when he was relevant was season 2 and 3, where me and you have some of our biggest problems with the show.
Yeah.
I don't think it's him. I'm not willing to blame him at all. And frankly, like, I know he's coming back to Arrow. We've talked about it, and I'm happy about that. I want to see him. I want to see what they do, and like, I want to see what they do with his absence and all of that. But I'm excited about him there. I don't dig him in the Nightwing world. I don't know what it is about it exactly.
He's too short for one thing.
He is a mite short. But is it bad that part of me just thinks he should have longer hair that I can't envision on him? Like, part of me just thinks that he should be able to wear, like, a, 3 or 4 inch bang and pull it off. And I don't feel like he could.
Yeah. He's got this, like...
I feel like an asshole casting agent looking at a headshot right now, but still, that's kind of what we're all doing.
He's got this, not MC Hammer, Vanilla Ice vibe I just can't get into. You know what I mean?
I hadn't thought about it. Hadn't thought about it at all, but maybe... Maybe. I'll tell you this. I'll bet 2 things. One, I'll bet he could outdance whatever Vanilla Ice's real name is that I've forgotten right now.
Robert Van Winkle.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, the poor sod. All right, so I'll bet Colton Haynes could outdance him, but I know for a fact Robert Van Winkle, I guess, can flip a house better.
Uh-huh.
And jet ski better. He's got a weird life.
He does. Yeah.
Award-winning competitive jet skier, and he does house projects.
Uh-huh. I only know that guy's
never cease.
I only know his real name because of they did a parody of it on In Living Color with Jim Carrey as Vanilla Ice, and they're doing a parody of Ice Ice Baby, and they go.
That feels perfect for In Living Color at that time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're like, what's your real name? Yeah. They go, what's your real name? He goes, Robert Van Winkle. Why did you change it? Nothing rhymes with Winkle. Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, it's a fantastic parody. Now, according to the Nielsen ratings, HBO's premiere of Wonder Woman brought in 2.8 million viewers, which is HBO's largest audience for a premiere in 2 years. This was on a Saturday night, no less. This managed to beat out the Winter Olympics by 300,000 viewers.
Right. Yeah.
It also put it an average of 500,000 above the premieres of the other DCEU films. Its Sunday night encore brought in HBO's best movie ratings since 2014 with another 1.6 million viewers. And that does it for our movie news.
Yeah. Not a bad showing there on HBO.
No, that's impressive. Especially with, like, you would think it would have been, like, way less because of the critical failure of Justice League. People just don't give a shit, man. They just like them some Wonder Woman.
They do.
And that's what's going to happen, I feel like. I think people, like, if something looks bad, they're like, screw it. I might come around for the next one, but I'm not watching that.
I've literally heard people express that opinion. And sadly, the only thing that really hurts my heart about it, like, I get it if you watch Justice League and you never want to see it again, but you really loved Wonder Woman and you'll watch that thing 4 times before Wonder Woman 2, you'll watch it again real quick, just to refresh your thought. Like, if you've tried them all and you didn't like one and you liked another, I mean, great. Okay, cool. I get it. But the only one that really hurts my heart is I've heard people say, like, I don't know. I saw the reviews on Justice League. I'm not even going to do it. But Wonder Woman was good.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, man. Wonder Woman was like a solid 30% of that movie and a solid 35% of why that movie was good.
Uh-huh.
Like, just, if all you enjoyed was the one thing, just go try it. Right? But that's a specific example. In general, when someone just kind of does that thing, we're like, I'll catch them on the next one. Because of the reviews, I'm always, come on, man, 2 hours. 2 hours of your life. Just try it. There's like the next time you can't sleep. Just the next time you can't sleep. It's 11 o'clock. You needed to be in bed at 10:30. You've been trying for 30 minutes. You can't do it. Just watch. Just watch a minute. Just try.
Yeah. And, these things come back. There's a lot of people, and it'll be years and years of people railing against Justice League or BVS on the internet. And they did the same thing with X3. To bring up something you mentioned earlier. Sure. X-Men 3, they like, oh yeah, no, it's bad. And then, but now you look around and people are like, I liked X-Men 3. It starts gaining back, like people like giving it a shot, like, maybe I'll go look at it again. Or maybe I'll go look at it and see what I thought. And I never saw it to begin with because of the bad reviews.
Yeah.
And you start getting a resurgence of people who are just like, it wasn't that bad. Hell, even, I mostly enjoyed X-Men Origins Wolverine more than X-Men 2.
That's mostly fair.
I mean,
I feel like
I can watch some bad CGI. I don't care about bad CGI. I just don't.
I mean,
I do, but it doesn't take me out of it that much.
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. I'm situational about that. But like X-Men Origins Wolverine by itself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the greatest tragedy was at the time they had planned like X-Men Origins Magneto, X-Men Origins Gambit, X-Men Origins Deadpool. They had all these plans for it, and I think all those just crumpled under the weight of the failure of that movie.
Yeah, I don't think that was
a lot to do with the fact that the thing was released before any of the CGI could have was completed as a leak.
It gained a lot of negative press. But no, they deserve what they got for what they did to Deadpool alone.
Oh, that alone, and the fact that they literally blackmailed Ryan Reynolds into that role is a whole different thing. But that being said, like 65% of that movie is actually pretty good. And then it's not like 65 is pretty good, and then I don't know the rest is okay. It's like 65% of the movie is pretty good, and then 35% of that movie needs to be burned in the ninth circle of hell.
Yes,
it's not a little bit bad. It's tank it and let the sands of time take it away.
But see, to me, like, yes, there's a huge portion of that movie that was bad, but it was still entertaining, which is more than I could say for X-Men 2.
I agree.
Or it was just like, damn it, can we just get past the 15 endings? I have to pee. This is the most boring shit I've ever seen.
The only thing these stingers are stinging is my bladder control.
They're not even stingers. It's just, okay, now we gotta watch a vague phoenix silhouette made of fire underneath Alkaline Lake, and we're never gonna get to that. Just...
I get it.
Yeah. And I just hate Brian Cox.
I don't.
He's one of those weird chemical reactions for me. I don't know why.
I don't have an opinion about him in any. Like, he is. I have no feeling about him one way or the other.
Yeah, I feel you. Right, we got a little bit of feedback. Dr. Steve at Weird Medicine says, weirdly over to Lobo, or I should say, weirdly over to Lobo, which is I think how I said it before.
Something
maybe like the greatest podcast line ever.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Ryan D. Hulsman on Twitter, amongst many other things, we had a whole conversation with him, says, thanks for helping me pass time at a long, boring day at work with your new episode. You are certainly welcome, sir. And we really enjoy talking to Ryan over on Twitter and everybody who decides to message us.
Mm-hmm.
But again, we did have a huge conversation. So
collectively, you have all made me actually stick around and see Twitter. I never thought that would be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still confused.
Yeah. Eliza Love over on Facebook tells us great podcast this week, which is nice. Thank you. Sherman Smith says, just saw Lego Batman. Didn't know if I'll like it. Not a fan of campy Batman like the 60s show or the Clooney version, but this was really good. Going all out comedy, but keeping the soul of the character. All the jokes hit. Very well done. And I mostly agree with you, Sherm.
Yeah, I think I do outright. I don't have any memories of the movie that contradict it.
Well, I think, and you'd have to go back and look and listen to our Lego Batman review. Plug. And I couldn't tell you what I felt about. I remember liking the movie. I felt like there was some stuff that didn't hit for me, but it's been a long time, man. I haven't seen that in a while.
That's true. I'd have to go back and listen to our review, but overall, as memory serves me, it seemed like everyone involved really loved the characters and treated them with a lot of respect and yanked them around the chain in equal measure, which is kind of what I hope for with the Lego movie.
It's mostly how I remember it. I don't remember Barbara Gordon being done particularly well.
I don't.
Just never felt like Barbara Gordon at all. But
maybe, but
they changed her character completely.
I also don't remember her being done at all. So that's one I'd have to be refreshed on. I remember she was there.
Yeah, exactly.
But I've got nothing.
Yeah, I think it was Rosario Dawson doing her, and it was like...
Ooh, I think you're right.
She wasn't like, Oracle or anything.
No,
she wasn't like
the chief of police
super brainy. Yeah, she was just like, my dad's retiring and I'm becoming commissioner or something like that. Mm-hmm. I don't remember, but that was super weird. It was just a strange version of Barbara.
I want to say I remember thinking it was a neat take, but you sure lost to me now.
No.
I'd have to go back and watch it again to see if my opinions match the previous opinions.
All right, so we're about to go over to TV. We're at DCOnScreen.com. Every episode is free over there. You can actually go and check out our merch store as well. The shirts are really solid. I'll say that.
Tis the truth.
It is the truth. It's Redbubble. I dig them. The shirts are comfortable. They're pretty solid. I don't talk about them a lot on the show, but they're a thing. They're there. And, I don't know. Shamalama. You can find us, on Twitter, DC On Screen, Facebook, DC On Screen. I tweet at David C. Robertson. Anyway, we're going to get spoilery a little bit on DC TV if you're not following along. You've just had your outro, Keeps Up DC on your screen, and here is our DC TV news. CW is expanding their original programming slate to include Sunday night. President Mark Pedowitz explained, by expanding to 6 nights, the CW is now able to give our fans even more of the series they're so passionate about. Broadcasting remains the foundation of our multi-platform approach to bringing our programming to viewers. He also said, we are looking at the moment to what's returning and what's not. We believe in our shows and will keep them on. There's a world where a lot of these shows come back and some don't. Well, that's starting to sound a little different than the previous sentence.
Yeah. Do you see how there's an emotional roller coaster you've been riding as you go over those little sound bites?
Uh-huh. Yeah. I mean, given that CW has also ordered 9 different pilots this season, this doesn't at all mean that the Arrowverse shows are safe from cancellation. It doesn't cancel out the previous Pedowitz news that the CW will only air 4 superhero shows a week.
Not at all.
CW actually hasn't renewed any of its 15 original programming shows, so...
Not technically. Granted, it's early. It's not a bad sign, necessarily.
I mean, I'd bet real money Black Lightning gets renewed.
I would bet. I mean, whatever you're willing to take me on that one, almost.
Yeah.
I think I'd mortgage my home on that bet, man.
That's a great show.
The ratings are just so damn good. But all that amounts to, it sounds like, is they haven't actually renewed anything yet, which is, again, that it's really premature. Don't think about that too much. Like we're a couple months before you start expecting to see renewal notices. I mean, you're going to get some, but we're a couple months before you expect them. So maybe not a couple months, but at least a month. Anyway, so all that being said, everything Pedowitz has given us in the last few weeks, what you walk away with is like it sounds like he has some sense that there may be some superhero fatigue, that he's trying to kind of backpedal against it. I think proactively, which I kind of like, because when I've looked at the ratings, I haven't seen any kind of like fatigue specifically about this genre. It just seems like all of the ratings are kind of declining at the rate that all shows decline. Like everything kind of starts at a point and then immediately goes down to a point, and then if it's good enough, it gets to stay, and then it just kind of keeps going with these little bumps here and there, these little spikes, but it just kind of keeps going kind of down. Like very few shows slope up a lot, you know?
Yeah.
So you get that. You get that he's maybe being proactive. I respect all that. And then the weird thing about we're only going to do 4, battling against fatigue. Again, I think he's probably still got our backs here. Like, I think he's trying to make sure that the numbers are right for all the shows. And then it's weird because he's like, but we're going to go into Sunday, which is, again, like for TV, Monday through Friday is really Sunday through Thursday. Like, if you throw something on Friday or Saturday, if it's on Friday, you're basically putting in a death slot. And if it's on Saturday, you're pretty much doing it to insult the people that are working on the show. Like, that's not even a chance. That's just I imagine, like, if you have to say, like, yeah, I had a show on television. When did it air? On Saturday.
Yeah.
So, those are death slots. Opening up Sunday is good, but it doesn't mean we're going to get anything.
Yeah, those Saturday night airings are rough, man.
No one cares. It's the universal night of, 80% of the population is not going to be even available for viewing.
I always felt bad for Pretender on NBC. It's a good show, man.
I never saw that one.
Of course not. It was Saturday night. Like 9 o'clock Saturday night, right?
Yeah. I mean, we may, like he said, he's still talking about, like, we think, airing shows is still the platform that we want to stick with. Basically, he's saying we still trust television. We're not just going to trust live streaming to take care of shows instead of when we air them being important. And that's great, but you got to wonder, like, when there's a transfer, when the thought process changes. I wonder if there's a future where it's like, yeah, you can get it on Saturday night. Who cares? It's going to stream fine during the week.
Yeah. Well, I think that's coming. I think it's well on its way.
Like, the real sea change for me will be the moment where someone airs something live on Saturday just to get it out there so that the next day air ratings, it'll be available Sunday night because that's what they're banking on. Mm-hmm. That'll be the moment where I think everything changes.
I mean, you just had a major studio release a movie on Netflix and throw a trailer up 2 hours before the premiere on the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. 5 million people that weekend.
Shit be changed.
5 million viewers that weekend.
Even if the movie kind of sucked, shit be changed, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So, if you heard our Legends of Tomorrow review, the previous episode, you will know that Matt Ryan will return to Legends in episode 15, Necromancing the Stone, and that will still leave 3 weeks in the season for Legends. So maybe there's more to hope for. Actor Nick Zano Instagrammed that he was, quote, going into the last episode of the season while a very recognizable coat stood behind him. So
that
fingers crossed.
By no means that he's necessarily going to be in the finale.
It doesn't.
I mean, he could, like, that could be Nick Zano's final scene that he was about to do, and he happened to do that while they're working on another episode in the background. Like, any of that's possible.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
What we do know for sure is that at some point Nick Zano is apparently going to get his ass beat because the picture he released, he's bleeding down both sides of the nose.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have it? Guts.
It was nice to see.
I apologize. I don't know.
Even the trench coat.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
I was just going to ignore your weird noise spasm.
Shamalama, man. We got one more piece of news here that I felt like was worthy of talking about. They released an English version of the Batman Ninja trailer. I think it looks amazing. If you dig Batman and anime, I think this is going to be a must for you. I know you're not big on anime, though.
Nah. I've gotten into it in Adele before, but for short, nah.
Yeah. So it comes out April 24th digitally and May 8th on Blu-ray and DVD. And Batman Ninja stars Roger Craig Smith as the Dark Knight. He sounds great, by the way. Tony Vale is the Joker, which is going to take a lot of getting used to. He sounds real weird for me. Grey Griffin as Catwoman, who we've seen her play that role before, and she's great. She's great at that. Tara Strong as Harley Quinn. Absolutely.
Always
Let's
a
just
win.
do that all day. I don't know how to say this. Fred Tatasciore? Sciore? I don't know.
Sure.
As Gorilla Grodd. And yeah, man, it's I think it looks cool. They sound great. I'm down with it, man. I'm down with the sickness, as some angry rocker once said in the '90s or the early 2000s, early aughts, as they say.
I think that one was the 90s.
Was it the '90s?
I think.
You know, I don't remember. I'm just judging it based on when. I think it was Running with Scissors came out by Weird Al Yankovic because he put that song in his Angry White Boy Polka.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, so we got a little... What?
Now, all I can
What'd
hear
you
now
say?
is like, wow, 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 whatever that sound is he makes at the beginning of that song.
The ooh-wah.
Wah, whatever. I don't know.
I can't do it.
I can't
do
make
it.
that voice either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird Al does it.
Oh, I'm sure he's capable. That bizarre, talented fuck. I am sure. I'm sure that's in his wheelhouse.
I mean, you haven't lived until you've heard him sing those lyrics, you know. He just, open up your hate and let it flow into me.
That's about as much as I could do. I could make it maybe half a line into trying to do it the way that it's originally done before I just needed to like cough for 5 minutes and get 2 glasses of water, very cold water down there. I do not have the throat of a punk or new metal singer.
No, yeah. Well, you don't need it if you're doing the Weird Al version, man.
I know. That's maybe the only version I can handle.
All right, so Randy SF45 on Twitter says, 7 minutes with Matt Ryan and Legends of Tomorrow is much improved. I meant to put that in the last episode, but I didn't do it. I forgot. So here it is in this episode. And I agree. Matt Ryan makes everything better.
He does.
Rob at Bob78741 on Twitter says, thought you might be interested in this. Since I just listened to your top 10 BTAS episodes, and Mondo has apparently put out a line of really well done posters, like excellent posters.
I saw some of those. They were good.
The want is strong. I don't know where the hell I'd put them.
Yeah.
But thank you for letting us know about that, Rob. I think aside from the Widder Woman voicemail, we're done.
That's all I got. All
right, guys.
I have got. Quick, hold on, quick thing. Let me check one thing. Let me just check
I'm
this
stretching
to be sure.
Yeah.
So, we will be back with more TV stuff, but not for a couple weeks. Gotham premieres March 1st. We're going to cover that in the days following. We won't be back with more news for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because somebody
yeah, here it comes.
has some shit they gotta get done or some shit. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah. Well, I liked it, so I had to put a ring on it.
How did you fit a ring on your copy of Batman the Animated Series? Oh, Bethany. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
Bethany,
yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. As any good millennial, I decided to listen to Beyonce. And
That's Queen. I understand. So, congratulations in advance.
Thank you.
And then I guess we'll congratulate you on the other side and see if
right.
we'll make sure in 2 weeks that divorce paperwork hasn't been filed.
Yeah, it won't be. It'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll be good.
We'll be good.
I think you got this.
We've been together 10 years. I doubt it'll be that quick on the divorce papers.
Although
I think we'll be good.
In its own way, hilarious if that's how it happens. But I have 100, I'll say 70% certainty that that's not happening.
Yeah, it wouldn't be hilarious to me, man. It would not be hilarious to me.
Oh, yeah. So let's all bid Dave's technically single because if you file your taxes, you're either married or you're useless. Life, one last to do.
Mm-hmm.
God, we both gotten married while we were doing this show.
Not yet, I haven't.
Strange times. Yeah, you just gotta survive. Very, very close right now to when we're recording, exactly 7 days.
Yeah, the ceremony should be starting in about 38 minutes.
Oof.
Yeah, in 7 days. So,
all right. Well, good luck.
Anywho, the next time I talk to you guys, I'll be a married man. That's weird. It's weird to say. Weird to think. I don't think you'll notice a difference.
Nope.
All right, well.
Your left side feels a little heavy. That's all. For like 3 days.
I'm not sure what you're referring to.
Well, you've got like an ounce of ring on you that just feels odd for a few days, and then you get used to it.
I've been wearing the ring for like a month and a half or so, just to get used to it. So.
Oh yeah.
I'm good.
Oh, you're fine. You're gonna be good.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, we're DC On Screen. Find every episode for free. DCOnScreen.com. We've got shirts. We might throw something else up sometime soon. I don't know. There's a bunch of different shirts for you, if you like that sort of thing. You can showcase your love for the show. Showcase your love for the show. There's too many shows in that sentence.
Mm-hmm.
And blah, blah, blah. I tweeted David C. Robertson. The show tweets at DC On Screen.
I tweeted.
We are on Facebook. You tweet at DC On Screen sometimes.
Yeah, it's really.
Like, seriously, I was like going through like notifications to get like fan feedback and stuff before the show, and there was like so many things I just haven't seen.
Actually, that's half the reason I enjoy doing it, is because like I feel like you check it halfway into a conversation.
Yeah, like I apparently like if Jason sees the stuff, like I don't get the notifications for it, so like
Right.
I'm just like, wow, nobody sent us anything, and then I look at it and I'm like, oh, okay, Jason's had like 15 like hour-long conversations with people on okay.
And I like to imagine that to some extent it happens in a way where like we have slightly different waking hours. So
We do.
I like to think that every now and then you wake up and look at the notifications. You're like, what was I saying? What the hell was I talking about? And then realize it was me.
Oh no, I always know it's you.
It's a shame. I should have just.
I like wake up. Like if I wake up and I don't have any notifications, I go, yeah, Jason.
Fair enough.
And then sure enough, I'll go and look, and it'll be like people are talking to us, and you're responding, and I'm like, all right.
Typical.
Yeah, but it's okay. I think people are still like enamored with the novelty of it because they're just used to it being me. Mm-hmm. So now it's like blah 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 dash Jason, and they're like, oh, it's Jason. Because you're the star of the show, man. I mean,
I doubt enamored or
I'm just a bureaucrat.
even in like of is applicable, but I have enjoyed sending pictures to people here and again. So
I don't even know what that means. What pictures are you sending to people?
well, little gifts.
Oh, sending the gifts. Okay, yeah. I thought you meant something else. I was like, dude, that's not okay.
No,
It's weird, man.
Yeah.
Don't get us in trouble.
listen, you make it sound like I have pictures of me. I'm surprised other people have pictures of me.
Well, that's the way you made it sound. I was just like, you haven't been enjoying sending pictures to people.
No.
Like, here's a picture of what I talk into the rest of the time.
Like in almost any picture of me that exists, you can feel, if not see, but actually feel my eyes rolling.
Oh no, you can't. No, I can send pictures to people. I can post pictures of you, and it is just the discomfort from Jason is almost tangible. Like you can almost feel it.
Yeah, I hate it.
And taste it.
I really hate it.
You know, it actually, like, anytime I see a picture of you, it reminds me of that Norm Macdonald bit with the old man, his great-grandfather, who's just all clenched up with his eyes wide. You know, like,
Yeah.
he's like, how much longer is this going to take?
Yeah.
Somebody has to get back and feed them hogs.
Yeah. That's about right.
Yeah, it's just weird, man. It's so funny.
It is such an uncomfortable procedure for me.
Yeah. It's, you know, you get better, though. You get better as you go. Like, if I took pictures of you, like, the first, like, 10 would be incredibly uncomfortable, and then, like, the next 10 will be like, alright, he's okay, he's still a little weird, and then, like, the next 10 is just, no, you're good. You're lax. You're not even acting like anything's happening.
Well, I mean, to that end, like, they took, I mean, the girl that took pictures at mine and Christian's wedding.
Uh-huh.
And she had a secondary. Oh, God. They probably took a couple thousand pictures, of which 80 or so maybe exist. And that's about right. Because that's the percentage of time you might actually catch me making a human face.
Yeah.
It's just not a thing that makes me comfortable.
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, like, most pictures that, the vast majority of the pictures that are taken of me are just unusable tripe. Mm-hmm. It's just, I'm awkward, and I don't know what to do with myself, so it's just like, I mean, just look at the wedding pictures that I show up in that you and I took at your wedding. Mm-hmm. It's just like awkward, forced silliness.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's just like...
It's all we can muster.
Yep. I don't know. I'm like, you look at me and you're like, oh, it's somehow like, it's just a large male version of Meghan Trainor. Just like standing there with his mouth real big and wide. Just creepiest thing.
I just kind of always look like I've either experienced a flavor for the first time that I don't appreciate, or that someone's drilling into my big toe, or both. It's not flattering, no matter how I do it. At best, maybe I look goofy enough that it seems maybe slightly charming. Not in a charming kind of way, just like, oh, what a goofball. Like, that's the best I can hope for in a picture, is like, oh,
yeah,
that goofy guy.
Yeah, sometimes you have the look like someone just showed you a picture of a fetus with a tail.
Yes.
And then, like, I know I've taken pictures of you where you didn't expect me to be doing that, and then, like, the picture, you just have this look like you're going, why?
Yeah, I look betrayed a lot of the time. And even the ones where I know the look you're talking about, where it looks like I've just been shown a picture of a fetus with a tail, and it really looks like you just showed me a picture of me as a fetus and explained to me that I had a tail once, and then I'm going, oh! And then someone went, click.
Oh.
Is that why my back always itches?
Yeah. Or like, here's a picture of your best friend from high school in a compromising position with a toaster. And you have this face like, well, I guess it's not too bad, but that is weird. It's just what I see.
That's about right. That's about right.
And I just always have like the big dopey like, aha! But if you look at my eyes, it really says, I'm doing this for social media. I don't want to. Help me, please.
Sometimes it's like if I see a picture of you, I can hear your eyes saying, like, maybe if I act enough like a cartoon, the camera won't really steal my soul.
Yeah, that's fair and hurtful.
It'll steal the fake me soul, and I'll persist.
Yeah. Well, okay, but the real me, like, and there are plenty of pictures of the real me, believe me. I always just look like I hate the world, and like I just have this like drab, let's get this the hell over with look. Like, I don't know how to look pleasant.
I think in any like real life pictures of me, I always just look distracted. Just generally distracted. Or bemused.
Yeah. Like, I think the truest picture I've ever taken of you was just a picture of you playing Arkham City.
I don't think I've ever seen that one. That's probably true.
Oh, yeah, I'm totally going to send it. I think it's on Instagram, actually. I don't think you're on Instagram.
No, God, no. Are you kidding me? I have no place there.
You have no place here?
No.
Come on, man.
Just be like a stream of pictures about my dog. Both
you would
dogs.
Probably
They're
be
both
like, you would probably be so Insta-famous, it would be ridiculous.
No.
If you just did like a doggy blog, oh my gosh, dude. That would be perfect.
A completely original idea that's never shown up on Instagram.
Oh, it doesn't matter, man. Come on.
Nah, no.
You know better than that.
I've got cute dogs. I'm good about that.
You do have cute dogs. Okay. Like, they tend to get a lot of likes. Your wife posts pictures of them.
She does.
They're cute dogs.
They are cute dogs.
You would almost not know that, one of them is awful.
Neither of them's awful.
Bruce is awful.
He's young.
So, means nothing.
I know. Are we still doing a show? I'm confused.
He'll get better. I don't know what we're doing anymore.
I've completely lost track of this conversation.
Yeah, me too.
Was there a Widder Woman coming up?
There's a Widow Woman. Yeah,
Dear God.
Widder Woman. I should.
Dear God.
So that's going to go a little more off the tracks, but
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be back at some point, and you can follow me on David C. Robertson and go. It's like the first post on my stream to see that picture of Jason playing Arkham City.
Sounds terrible.
It is captioned, "My roommate Jason shows he got game." April 25th, 2013, guys.
Dear God.
So, until next time, keep some DC on your screen.
Or whatever the hell it is we're talking about.
That tangented hard.
Well, I ain't called you for a while, because they said don't call no more, but I had a question for you. Did that Captain America, when he was in the Civil War, was he on the side of the North or the South? Was he an abolitionist? Well, I hope he was, because he was a pretty good fella. And I know he was in D.C., it was Washington, D.C., ain't that right? Well, anyway, if you could answer my question, I appreciate you. And I thank you. Thank you, but get off my party line, damn you. Myrtle man, if you get off.
Our opening narration was from Dan Jurgens' The History of the DC Universe, Part 3 of 10, as featured in DC 52, Week 4. It was performed by me, David C. Robertson. Intro music by Jason Goss and Michael Shackelford. Michael's band, Future Elevators, could be found on Spotify or future-elevators.com. Our introduction was performed by Effie Ophelders of the fantastic podcast Stealing the Remote, which lives on SoundCloud. It can also be found on iTunes and Stitcher. We are proudly in partnership with TV Time, the TV show calendar and social media site that lets you keep track of what you're watching, what your friends are watching, and where you all left off. DC On Screen is a maladjusted production. Visit maladjusted.tv for more from me and Jason, including sketch comedy, an improvised web series, vlogs, parodies, and more.